In this episode, we will be discussing Arizona Tenant partial rent payments. The Arizona Residential Landlord and Tenant Act addresses a tenant's use or a landlord's acceptance of partial rent payments in the following manner. Written agreement required. A landlord is not required to accept a partial payment of rent or other charges. A landlord accepting a partial payment of rent or other charges retains the right to proceed against a tenant only if the tenant agrees in a contemporaneous writing to the terms and conditions of the partial payment with regard to continuation of the tenancy. The written agreement shall contain a date on which the balance of the rent is due. If the landlord has provided the tenant with a notice of failure to pay rent, as specified in our video, Arizona Tenant Non-Compliance, prior to the completion of the agreement for partial payment, no additional notice is required in case of a breach of the partial payment agreement. A waiver of the right to terminate. Except as specified in the previous subsection, written agreement required. Acceptance of rent or any portion thereof, with knowledge of a default by tenant, or acceptance of performance by the tenant that varied from the terms of the rental agreement or rules or regulations subsequently adopted by the landlord, constitutes a waiver of the right to terminate the rental agreement for that breach. For additional laws and articles, visit AmericanLandlord.com.